To order the common council meeting on March 9th at 7:32. First up is Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America.
Roll call, please.
Alder Radafrada.
Here.
Alder Clouder.
Here.
Alder Gerhardt.
Here.
Alder Krause.
Here.
Alder Maldonado.
Here.
Mayor Richardson.
Here.
Alder Schroeder.
Here.
Alder Strassman.
Here.
Alder Udell.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Public appearances, non-agenda items. I don't have anyone for a public appearance and non-agenda items. We do have a ad hoc committee to do the planning for Stoner Prairie Park. It's a new park over by Stoner Prairie neighborhood and the schools over there. It's a pretty nice park, big park. I believe it's going to be an area park, and a lot of people interested in making sure it's a quality park. And so, as you can see, there's a lot of people that are interested in helping determine the vision for that. And so, a lot of excitement, enthusiasm for the park, and want to make sure that all those people with a vested interest have some input into what's happening out there. So that's why we're kind of creating this and making sure we get everyone involved in those different areas. So in the packet, I believe it has the names of all the people, and so you can see some of the various people who are stakeholders in that project. I don't know if anyone has any questions or someone just wants to approve that group.
I'd make a motion to approve that group.
Second.
Moved by Sarah, seconded by Shannon. Any further questions or anything?
I have a question.
Yeah, Randy, go ahead.
Is the link just not working? All I have is mayoral appointments. I'm just looking for a full list of those appointments.
Is it in the packet? Let me look here.
Page 5 of the pack.
Yep. Page 5 and 6, actually.
Okay.
You're on there, Randy.
Yeah, I was looking for the entire list, but for some reason mine isn't opening. All right, thank you.
All right. Joe.
How is this staffed?
Chad Siegel from the rec department is going to be the main staff contact for this. Thought it was a good opportunity for him to kind of expand his knowledge and his skills. And with rec programs a little slower right now, thought it'd be a good opportunity to utilize him for this.
How often will the committee meet?
I would guess roughly once a month. I think it's to be determined, as needed. They might need a couple quick ones in one part of it, and then might need a few weeks off. There's not like a set schedule. It's kind of as needed.
And thank you.
All right. Yeah, Gabriella.
This just seems like a lot of people. Am I?
It is. Yeah, you're right. It is a lot of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And is that more typical for an ad hoc where it's just kind of a lot of stakeholders together?
I think it's more than I would like to, but because there's so many stakeholders that we just want to make sure that because there's a few very enthusiastic neighborhoods over there, a couple of new neighborhoods, and then you've got, I think, Daniel from Black Hawk Church is on there, and so it's bigger than I'd like it to be, but there's a lot of people who are very interested in this, and so we don't want to exclude anyone, and they want to be very inclusive when they were putting this together. Anything else? All right. Seeing nothing else, all in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, that is approved. Next is consent agenda. Is there a motion?
I move to approve.
All right.
Second.
Moved by Gabriella, seconded by Sarah. Is there anything that someone would like to take out of the consent agenda to do separately? All right, seeing nothing. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
And opposed, nay. All right, and then before we get to the administrator's report, I know that I was asked if we could move Sarah Olson up and her report on, I gotta find it here. The update on the city administrator recruitment, so that she doesn't have to sit here too late. So if someone wouldn't mind moving that up, maybe even before.
It's 11A.
I move to move item 11A up to now in the agenda.
So moved. So second.
All right, moved by Gabriella, seconded by Joe. Any questions on that? All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, that is amended, and Sarah, you are up.
All right, good evening, council. I'm here to provide an update to the city administrator recruitment process. The position closes on Monday already, so if you haven't already shared this posting with your networks, please do so. It's not too late. We have posted this at several professional association sites. Our first step will be phone interviews. So we have those scheduled already for Wednesday, March 24th. At each step in the recruitment process, we have a different council member, a different department head, and different community members. So we're really trying to have balanced panels at every step in the process and have varying perspectives too. So following the phone interviews, we are still on schedule for the panel interviews on April 8th. And then following the panel interview on the same day, we will have what is called a community panel presentation. So this is a presentation to a panel of about 5 on a predetermined topic. So we will be holding that, and then afterwards have hopefully a virtual and in-person meet and greet, kind of like a public reception. So residents, business owners, council members, employees can get a chance to meet the different candidates and just get to know them a little bit on a more informal way. So the following day, on Friday, April 9th, we will have one-on-one interviews with the mayor, and then we'll have a group interview with the council, with each candidate. So you'll have the opportunity, all of you, to meet the different candidates. And then we'll have a city tour. So we're really excited about the process. We are going to have a third party perform the background investigation. So that won't be done in-house. That was at one of the recommendations of the personnel committee. We will be taking the mayor's recommendation for hire to the April 27th council meeting. So you'll see, hopefully Mayor Richardson with someone in mind to hire. And then lastly, on April 1st, we will be meeting the personnel committee to just comb through the city administrator contract and just take a good close look at that and see if there's any changes that we would like to make. So I just wanted to provide just a real general update to you, let you know we're right on schedule. We definitely see a lot of applicants toward the end of a recruitment or the application deadline. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get at least, 10 or so more applicants before the end of Monday. So does anyone have any questions for me at all about the process? Julia.
Julia.
So how many, Sarah, thank you for the update. How many resumes have you received so far?
Yep, so I have 14 applicants so far.
Okay, and they are all local or from out of state?
Yep, some are local, some are out of the state. So it's kind of a mix of both.
And my other question is, what happens if, going through those resumes, you find out that the quality is not there, it's missing something. So what is the next step? Do you have a contingency plan, a plan B?
Yeah, so if we go through and we're not feeling right about that we have, we'll definitely extend the application period. Okay. And yeah, we definitely don't want to move forward unless we feel that we have a good group to move forward. Okay. So at this point, we would just extend the application deadline date and then, try maybe a few different methods for attracting other candidates or applicants.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dorothy, go ahead.
Yeah, of the 14, in a quick scan through them, are there some that are obviously going to be disqualified, or are they all looking good at this point?
Yeah, so there are a few that don't necessarily meet the minimum qualifications. We do have a handful that do have, prior administrator experience. We have some that have some senior level management experience, not necessarily as an administrator. So we are seeing a variety of different skill sets and qualifications.
Any other questions? All right. Hopefully we continue to get some good applicants in the last week here.
That's right.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much,
everyone.
Sarah. Thanks for everyone who's agreed to help out too. All right. Moving forward to administrator report. Mike.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of announcements for you. The Public Health Madison-Dane County Order Number 14 begins tomorrow, March 10th, and goes through April 7th. City Hall is still operating by appointment. We anticipate a soft opening sometime later in April, and we'll have more details at the next council meeting for you on that. From the Assessing Department, 2021 will be a maintenance assessment year. After many long discussions, the city assessor has decided not to revalue for the 2021 assessment roll. Typically, the city of Fitchburg revalues each year. Due to COVID-19 and the extent of the 2020 revaluation, the city assessor has decided that 2021 will be a maintenance assessment year. We intend to resume our annual revaluation for 2022. And if you go to the city assessor website, their front page on the website, this information is out there, and there's a frequently asked questions section there that explains the whole process. And our city assessor, Amy Mercer, is going to email that out to all of you as council members too. But it's already posted on the front page of the assessment front page there.
That was just the day that she posted that, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, it just went live tonight, I think. Yeah, and she's going to be emailing the questions out to the council and elected officials. A couple of parks updates. Due to wet and muddy conditions, Sunnyside Dog Park will be closed starting Wednesday, March 10th until conditions approve over there. And then in case you haven't noticed, with the warm weather, the ice rinks are closed. So Tom, if you were planning to go ice skating, we're past that. The Clerk's Department, the spring election is coming up on April 6th. Ballots will be arriving by the end of this week, and then in-person voting will be for March 23rd through April 2nd, appointment only for that process. And then we've got, for the public meetings with Zoom, chat is being administered by Fact TV and operated just between individual participants and the Fact TV administrator for the Zoom meeting. There's not interactive chat abled anymore. We're just having it directly between individual participants and the Fact TV administrator. Postal update for you. The postal contract station at Hatchery Hill is definitely staying open through mid-April. And we have a meeting next week, Tuesday, on site with postal officials, next Tuesday, March 16th, as we continue to work on the future of that postal contract station going forward. Good news from our friends at UW Health. They had consolidated their operations over to, I think it was the Odana Road Clinic, but as they kind of go post-COVID, they're looking to move back to the Fitchburg Clinic and reopen that one with a go-live date of April 5th. That's UW Health. And then, as you might have noticed, if you've driven down Fish Hatchery Road, the orange barrels have appeared. So construction season is upon us. And the first week in April is when we'll start to have some of the lane closures. I think the southbound lanes will be where traffic is directed, and work will begin on the northbound lanes. So keep an eye out for that first week of April. And I think that covers everything.
All right. Any questions at all? All right. Seeing none, we can move along. Plan Commission, anything you want to report, Tom?
No, just the next meeting will be the 16th, I believe, next week. And there's quite a few things on it that are coming up.
All right. Public Works, Sarah.
Sure, I'll just kick off with B1. I'd move resolution R4921, authorizing purchase of two 2022 International HV607 SBA tandem chassis.
Second.
Seconded by Joe. Did Public Works approve?
Yes.
Did Finance approve?
Yes.
All right, what's this one, Sarah?
This is the 2021 capital project fund that included the purchase of 2 plow trucks, one as a replacement and one as the additional truck for Fish Hatchery Road.
And if I remember right, it takes a long time to get these in. Even though when we order them, I think it takes 6 or 9 months before we actually get it.
I'm not sure about that, but that makes sense.
Sorry. Yep, Bill's giving me a thumbs up.
Okay.
Any questions on this one? Tom?
Bill, do we have drivers for these trucks?
Yes, we did hire somebody, or we're in the process of hiring somebody right now.
So we're short one driver, basically, which is, okay, I mean, is that what you're telling me?
No, we'll be fully staffed by this November.
Any other questions at all? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. All right, that is approved. Next one.
I move resolution R5021 to 2022 tandem plow equipment.
Second.
Seconded by Joel. All right. And did Public Works approve?
Yes.
And did Finance approve?
Yes.
All right. And what's this one, Sarah?
This is the plow, dump bodies, and all associated equipment for the 2 trucks that were just approved in R4921.
All right. Any further questions on these two? All right. Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right. That one's approved. Next.
I move resolution R5221, purchase of pedestrian lights for Terra Vesa First Edition, Green Market Place, East Sherrill Parkway, and Central Park Place.
Second.
Seconded by Joe, I think. And did Public Works approve?
Yes.
And did Finance approve? Yes, I saw a yes, even though I didn't hear it. All right, what's this one?
This is part of the smart code requirements that we are required to install. There's a diagram in the packet that they're fluted pole teardrop fixtures that kind of give a traditional look and feel and will be consistent within all smart code areas. They're purchasing over 200 and there'll be about 4 spares included. And ultimately, this doesn't really come down to a city expense as we are reimbursed by the developer or a special assessment, but it does give that consistent look and feel within smart code areas.
All right, any questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, that's approved. Next.
And move resolution R5321, authorizing acceptance of construction bid for pickleball courts at Fahey Fields.
Second.
Seconded by Randy. And did Public Works approve?
Yes.
Did Parks approve?
Yes.
Did Finance approve?
And we approve it with a lot of discussion.
All right, and we've got one resident that would like to speak. Patrick, come on up.
Patrick Cheney. I live right next to McGaw Park in District 3, and I am one member of the Park Commission. The pickleball courts are fine. I'm for them. Go ahead with them. Even all 8, and there's a future expansion area if this shows lots of use. Keep that in mind. This is intended to have more construction work in the future. But the parking lot in alternate 1 is a fail. To start, it's $30,000 more than the courts. This project was budgeted at $320,000. The extra is beyond the original plan. Alternate number 1, extra cost requires a budget change, but the base plan is good to go. A new shelter at probably $500,000 is intended to be added here in the new future. And to mention something that Julia mentioned about lights. If this helps, recent baseball field lights in McGaw cost $175,000. I don't like to see parks projects go onto the property tax levy. R.A. Smith may have been asked to squeeze all these pickleball courts and a parking lot into this limited size space, and they did the best possible here. We saw 3 versions of revisions through the Park Commission. This parking lot doesn't work. It's a traffic jam of congestion. There is no map layout in your packet, but to describe it, as soon as someone turns into the entrance lane, they're stuck. They want an open spot up front, but if not, they still have to go up the lane, all around the loop, in the main lot, through the whole lot to get back out again. One access point. Instead of paved parking lot next to paved courts, maybe grass here, trees, or other park facilities, or if needed, a parking lot in the future to be determined. I worked out a parking lot layout on the east side of the big ditch, next to the main lot. Mine has 2 ways in and out, about the same number of spaces, in a better site, and it has to cost less since it doesn't need to cross that moat. And mine does not preclude a future lot by these courts if the Park Commission sees a need. But building this parking lot now removes the option of a lot where I have in mind. Maybe neither is needed. The 2 main large lots are close enough for a short walk. At rare times, both main lots have been full. I've seen that with multiple events. But with many events all at once, it's still possible to fill up all parking lots. Other events park on the east and south and north sides. Pickleball is to the west of the main lots. Normally, 2 large lots are sufficient, and the future could determine the best use. In the court expansion area, there are future options depending on popular use. Maybe a couple larger courts, dual stripe for tennis and pickleball, like at some parks. Here, instead of parking, not so much paved area, maybe picnic tables and trees. Once it's all paved, it's here to stay. There was never a public input meeting or a parks agenda item to discuss this design. There are other options possible for this larger area if everyone is willing to consider them. Questions?
All right, thank you, Patrick. We also got a number of emails in, which you all got. There was one person who emailed that was not in support. Not everyone said where they were from. If they did, I will note that. But one person, Patricia Thornwell, is not in support. We did have a number of people who emailed in support of the pickleball courts. They are Ted Keys. We have Paul Martinson from Fitchburg, Mark and Debbie Hamilton from Fitchburg, Jan and Eugene McNally from Fitchburg, Mike and Pam Steffen from Fitchburg, Sarah McCormick from Fitchburg, Keith Jerkowski, unsure of where he's from, Marie Adams from Madison, Charlie Vojanovich from Fitchburg, Kathy and Tim Indra from Fitchburg, George and Claudia Campbell from Fitchburg, Bob Gorsuch from Fitchburg, John and Sandy Susterich from Fitchburg, Rita and Richard Olson from Fitchburg, Roger Damerall from Fitchburg, Kathy Zastro, unsure of where she's from, Nancy Leonovich, unsure of where she's from, Kane Sivasind from Fitchburg, Charlie Smith from Fitchburg, Dave Weinbach, unsure, Roman Reynolds, not sure where he's from, Ruth and Steve Wagman from Fitchburg, John and Lucinda Ellie from Fitchburg, Connie Smith, not sure where she's from, Mark Davis from Fitchburg, Mark Blitz from Fitchburg, Shelley Reynolds from Fitchburg, Rani Sivasind from Fitchburg, Jana Woodhouse from Fitchburg, Kathy Evers, I'm guessing Madison, she's the governor's wife, Carol Widra from Fitchburg, and also Len Widra from Fitchburg. Scott, do you want to speak to this as well?
I certainly can, Mayor.
I don't.
Julia, what?
Before we continue,
Yeah.
everyone received an email from Misty because there's going to be some changes and the language, so we need to.
Yeah, I'll
I
get to that.
forgot to mention that.
Yep, I'll get to that after
Okay,
Scott kind
okay.
of introduces the project here. Yep. Go ahead, Scott.
Just a point of clarification in regards to the funding. I think Patrick indicated that there was going to be tax dollars that went to the development of this park, and that's incorrect. All dollars that go to develop the park have come via park improvement funds or fee in lieu of parkland dedication. And then maybe just a general comment regarding the parking lot and our current park system has a lot of different locations that there's amenities where there are adjacent parking lots. Kids Crossing at McKee, we've got a tennis court at McKee. We've got the splash pad that has adjacent parking. We've got Sunnyside Park. We've got Dowley Bike Hub. We've got, I guess the thought is, and actually too, that the parking lot's not only going to be serving the pickleball courts, it's also going to be serving the athletic fields to the north and the south. And I know, Misty, we did take a look at an aerial picture we're shared at finance to kind of give a perspective of it. And so I guess those would just be some general comments. Certainly the pickleball court was the main idea with the development, but we thought that it would be best to try to get the entire park developed at the same time in the interest of capacity and potential savings and those kinds of things. So certainly the project was a pickleball court, and as you recall, it was a lump sum bid the last time that we did bid it, and that was a concern that the council raised. So certainly the pickleball court does come underneath that $320,000 that is budgeted, but the balance is, as I mentioned, the support facilities for the pickleball court, along with continued development of Fahey Fields for the future.
Mayor, an important clarification on what I said.
Sorry, that's okay.
I did not mean to say that this was tax dollars.
Okay. All right. Misty, do you want to speak to the email that you just sent out recently to the council? It looks like there's a couple edits.
Yes, so literally moments before Finance Committee, we realized there were some changes needed in the numbers. So I apologize for getting this to you so late, and I'm able to share my screen so that the public can see it as well. But ultimately, there are 3 numbers in the resolution that need to change. First of all, the Fahey Fields number, that $240,000 in the second clause, the first be it further resolved clause, needs to change to $105,167. That was because the $240,000 that was originally in there did not factor in some additional costs that hit the books in December for the water loop project. So that wasn't accounted for when we put this together originally. And then the next clause, that $10,457, that needs to change to $3,393. That was my issue. So I had been putting interest revenue into the miscellaneous bucket all year. And then at the end of the year during audit, I spread it to all of the different developments. And I didn't factor that reallocation into those numbers. So that needs to change a little bit there. And then both of those differences, I'm proposing to come out of the general bucket. So that $97,592 number needs to change to $239,488. So in general, park fees is still paying for the project. That's not changing. It's just a matter of which of those individual buckets within park fees that needs to change because of those couple of issues. And then on that email too, I showed you there's 2 buckets of money. There's kind of the old way and the new way. And I included the spreadsheet that shows you each one of those balances and then what's being approved in there, just so you had all that back up too.
All right, thank you. Questions, comments from the council?
Can we put a map on the screen?
Sure.
Yep. Can we put the same map that we use in Finance Committee?
This one, right?
Yeah. I don't know who's.
And so in the middle, is that where the pickleball courts are going? And then there's a open field both on each side of it as well, which will be used for soccer, flag football, who knows what else. All right.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead. And I think Sarah's also raised her hand, so I'll have you go next. Go ahead, Julia.
Okay, Sarah, go. You.
No, Julia, go ahead. Yeah, Sarah will go next.
Okay, so one question is, well, I have several, but I'm gonna do one first now. When we mention about the parking lot, you can see in the map that there is 2 parking lots there, and they have around, I would say, 2 to 250 slots. So, so it's like this park is, so this is what in the proposal in the park is, there are the base bid for the 8 pickleball courts, and also there is the alternate one is to pay for the parking lot and the other path, or bike path, or sidewalk and culvert. So the question is that I want to clarify that there are 2 parking lots looking at the proposed site. I have more questions, but then I'm gonna ask Sarah for.
All right. Sarah, do you want to speak?
Sure. I guess first I just would like to talk with what Julia had mentioned, because we did discuss that within parks. And as was mentioned as the commentary, there are times that both these parking lots, although they are large, are filled. Just that McGaw has a lot of activities. It's very popular, which is fantastic. But these parking lots do fill, and adding athletic fields and pickleball courts seems far-fetched to me then, that we're not obviously going to be bringing in more people and filling those lots more. And my other comment that we discussed in parks is, as you can see in the picture, the other parking lots are actually on the other side of the entrance of the park. And so the expectation would be that if you were visiting the pickleball courts or the athletic fields, you would be expected to cross the main entrance, which I think should immediately be flagged as a safety concern. That I think that is why we frequently have parking lots adjacent to activities, especially not having people expected to cross main entrances where people are coming and going regularly. I just think that, without a doubt in my mind, is flagged as a safety concern that I think should be taken into account. And then the other comment that I had mentioned, just that I had mentioned in works when it was passed unanimously, and in parks when it was passed with just one objection, is just that, as the Channel 3000 article was listed today, and even listed within a Sports and Fitness Industry Association report, pickleball is a really popular sport that's gaining traction. And from 2019 to 2020, participation was up 21.3%. So I think, as the 32 resident comments that we received, in addition to the data that we're showing, that's showing the improvement or the increase in interest from 2019 to 2020, I think that speaks to the residents desiring this project, and just that it's something that would meet the needs of our city. So that's my only comment. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else?
Can I ask a clarification question?
Sure, and then Dorothy I have after that. Go ahead.
Scott, did you mention that in the other parcels beside the proposed land for the pickleball court are gonna be athletic fields? When are they planning to be done, those, and how is those fields are gonna be paid?
Or they actually, we planted them, I believe in the spring of last year, and they had almost a full growing season this last year. So they should be ready to go, by midsummer, available for play.
There's gonna be like a soccer field?
That there'll be open play fields that can certainly accommodate soccer fields, not pickleball, but a lot of different other soccer, flag football. We've got a lot of open space needs. Cricket is kind of a growing thing. So they definitely can be utilized by other groups and ourselves.
Okay.
Dorothy, go ahead.
Okay. I have no problem at all with pickleball, but I want to remind Scott in particular, there's a lot of the alders here that don't know that in 2013, we did a study asking whether the golf course should be a city park or not. Part of that included a health impact assessment that gave some clear recommendations, either way, but since the city decided to keep it a golf course, I got out the recommendations that they had for if it stayed a golf course. And the one that I want to pick out of that says develop scaled down play spaces such as small playgrounds in apartment areas or on perimeter of golf course to provide an alternative to kids playing in the parking lots. Since long before 2013, the kids that live around the golf course have had nowhere to play except in their parking lots. They have been waiting, and they have been waiting, and they have been waiting. If we do not get support from the entire set of people that emailed for pickleball courts and from the city and everything to finally give those kids somewhere to play, I am, whether I'm still an alder or not, I will be making big noise because I've been waiting for this. This has been in the queue. Pickleball courts have jumped the queue of needs, certainly. I'm glad that we're doing the hub, but that's going to still take time. But I hear rumblings that some people might not like the hub. And if we end up getting people that say, well, we can't afford whatever, or, and I'd like to hear from Scott and or Misty how this is going to pencil out as far as money left to do the hub projects.
So this isn't a hub discussion item. We need to focus discussion and comments on the pickleball courts. I understand that there's a need there and there's needs, but this is pickleball courts. We need to stick to the agenda item.
After we spend money from the park dedication fees, what will be left? Is there going to be enough left to do the hub? And is it going to be dedicated toward that purpose?
Misty, do you want to speak to the and I know that we're constantly putting more money into this fund with developments. So do you want to speak to that?
So to answer the question about how much park fee money will be left, so in fund, there's the old rules and the new rules. So in Fund 202, which is the old rules, after this resolution is approved, if it is as is, there would be about $430,000 left in that part. And then in Fund 203, which is the new rules, there will be 1.7 million of fees that we've collected already in cash available. But then there's also another 1.3 almost of money that we are expecting to receive soon as we have a project ready to go for it. The developers have deferred it. So there's a fair amount of money available.
All right. Other comments or questions? Julia?
Yeah, so I have a couple of comments. I don't have anything against the pickleball court. I think it's going to be great for our park system, our amenities, more than ever now with COVID, that people are out there, playing. I have some issue with the funding and the desire to do the parking lot. My question that I asked in finance was why we are going to build 8 pickleball courts without light. if we want to do in tournament or we want to use it in longer hour in winter, we can short our time light in winter time, in the fall, our days are at 4 or 5 o'clock, it's already dark, so why we are not, instead of using the money to do the parking lot, why we don't invest to do the lights, so we can, we can promote this like a destination for tournament, that they can use it like, at night, or I can see, I live 2 blocks away from the McKeefer Park and the tennis court there that they have lights, they were used until late December, so that one was one of my comments. The other comment is that I hope that we are so eager to support parks in the city and the parks that they are coming in the pipeline, all of us, the way we are supporting this one. When I tried to do 3 years ago, when I started working in the inclusive playground, the only way that I can build that park was 50-50. Oh, you need to bring 50% on private donation and 50% the city is gonna put the 50%. So 3 years later, we are still collecting money. We are not quite there, and maybe it's gonna be another year without the inclusive playground. So I hope that all of us, we should be intentional where the priority are for in our park system. We should support all these park activities, they are great, but also, I hope that also you support, the inclusive playground or the hub, the way we are supporting this one. The hub is another great amenity in a location where we have more than 2,500 people living in multifamily without any park. So we need to be intentional on how we use this park dedication fee. And I don't have anything against the pickleball. I think it's gonna be a great amenity for the city. The other thing I want to mention is this area of the park in Mago, they are connected by bike paths. So if we live in the city of Fitchburg, we can access the biking. We can go to play pickleball there. So we are trying to be, we are a biking city. We need to promote that. We need to use our bike paths. Why we're gonna build more parking lot when we have the connectivity? I know that we can do it in the future if we, could be another amenity that we can add to the park. And maybe we can create like the friends of the pickleball, and they can, collect in private donation the money to do the parking lot like we are doing with the inclusive playground. But my question is that I really support this, support the pickleball court because it's a great amenity for our park system. But if we are gonna do it right, why we are not gonna put in the light? And second, I wanna ask all my council members that, we should be intentional on how we invest in our systems, in our park system. And I agree with Dorothy that this one jumped the queue. But that's it. I don't want to make more comment. That's it.
All right. Anyone else? Okay. Gabriella.
Yeah, I guess I was surprised by I was disappointed to see the Fahey Fields park fees were so much lower than originally. Because I was happy to see that, the pickleball courts themselves cost about $300,000. And the Fahey Fields park fees originally were paying for almost all of that, which felt really great because those fees can only be used in that area. It was originally at $240,000, but now we realize that, it's about $135,000 lower than what we had originally seen in the proposal. And that $135,000 is coming from, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Misty or Scott, but that $135,000 is coming from fees that could be used in other community parks. Is that correct, Misty?
Yes, so the proposal would be that it would come from kind of the non-spoken for park fees in lieu of land dedication. What I was trying to look up real quick though is Fahey Fields did pay into that general bucket as well, but I haven't been able to find how much it was. So it actually might still be that Fahey Fields is paying for it. It's just out of one bucket versus the other.
But the difference between that bucket and the Fahey Fields park fees bucket is that the unencumbered fees could be used in the other community parks.
So in theory, any of the money that is not used by the development or the park directly by the development could be used at a community park. So it's not just this generic money, all the other park improvement fees as well, if they are not used for that park, could be used for a park that draws people from across the city.
Okay.
And then I did find the number. So Fahey Fields paid in $427,000 into that generic bucket.
Dorothy.
And Gabriella ended up reminding me I'd sent Scott a note recently asking whether there was any start on talking about the Dunn's Marsh. That's another one that neighbors have been asking for years and years now. And I've kept bringing it up, and Scott suggested a couple of years ago that we could turn that into a community park based on the existing uses of it and use some of those park fee dollars to get that recreational path completed around Dunn's Marsh. So that someone on next door today says, where would be good to go walk with my stroller? It's like, well, that's 1.5 miles around the marsh. So that's another thing that's been in the queue that I would hope that there's money for at a reasonably appropriate time. And again, that conversation has been going on, I think, since before I was elected. Neighbors have been talking about that.
All right. Anyone else on pickleball courts? Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, this question is for you, Mayor. So I've heard the phrase used in news articles, I think in council meetings. I've heard the term pet project used, and I'm just wondering, what is your definition of the term pet project? What would qualify, and would this project qualify under your definition?
I don't have a definition. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I guess something.
Oh, so you've used the word in the media and the newspaper and never thought about what it meant?
I guess, is there relevance to pickleball courts? Are you saying that this is a pet project, essentially? I mean, say what you want to say, but
I'm asking you because I've heard that term used and it's been used pejoratively. I think that term has been spread. I've heard residents use it. In regards to projects that sort of have similar rationale, projects that can be good for the community, that really demonstrate a need, demonstrate a demand. And I know that, my understanding is that you favor this project, but I'm wondering how you define pet project because, when terms or words like that get used, they often, turn public opinion against things that are necessary. And I'm looking for consistency here. Similar to what other alders have said, I often see projects being maligned because of, dismissal over them being, the needs or the demands of a certain, elected official rather than being the needs of the community. So I'm wondering what your definition of pet project is.
Okay, it seems like you're trying to make a point versus advocate discussion. So, any other comments? Gabriella, go ahead.
So I'm struggling with this a little bit because the price tag is quite high. And I do think the question of priorities is a good question. I guess, when we bring up projects like the hub, that's a very under-resourced neighborhood. And, there are limited funds, like park fees. Yes, this isn't coming from tax dollars. That's great. And we have this great money that we can do improvements on our parks or, increase amenities. But in terms of what I think about trying to find ways to help residents in this area that do not have as many amenities. So in terms of if I had to choose between sending $135,000 to the hub project and sending an additional $135,000 to the pickleball project, I would choose the hub because the hub is a neighborhood that doesn't have a park for the people to play in. And pickleball would be great to add to McGaw, and it would be good for the whole city, but there is a lot of amenity there already. And it's really about if I had to choose. So I'm hoping that we don't have to choose. And I think that's what a lot of people are saying. I hope that we can fully fund the hub project and give a park and a community center to that area because they need it. And my worry about this project, approving it now, is that I am worried that next year, 2 years down the road, I'm going to regret, making that money go to this project when I think that money, if you had to choose, would be better spent on the hub. So that's what I'm struggling with this project. So while I think that, I'm having a hard time with it. But, and I really appreciated hearing from all the people that wrote in about how much they love pickleball. That was great. It makes me kind of want to try playing it myself, which is great. But priorities and choices, I think, are hard. And that's what's difficult about these cities' decisions is because the choices we make now affect the choices that we can make down the road. And I think that's what I think is hard about this, is not knowing where we'll be a year or 2 years from now with that particular project.
I guess I'd like to remind people, if I have Hub Phase 1 anyway, staff is working on right now to develop that park. So, I think Misty said there's a lot of money out there. We don't know if people talk about Phase 2. I don't know what that's going to be, but Hub Phase 1 is being worked on right now. Misty, go ahead. Oh, we can't hear you though.
I muted myself. Just want to clarify something and not to get into a big discussion about it, but with the Hub Phase 1 and Hub Phase 2 and the park fees, the thing to keep in mind when we're looking at funding something with park fees is that it's not really a matter of it being designated a community park. That phrase community park isn't really what says that park fees can be used for the project. What the requirement is that that project has to draw people from the development that paid the fees. So if the development is across town, would the people that are in that development go to the park that is being paid for with their fees? That's the question that's there. So I know there's some concern with Hub Phase 1. Would that draw from people across the city or not? And again, not to get into a discussion about Hub Phase 1, but just wanted to remind people what the requirements are for the park fees funding. And so why pickleball courts can be used with park fees is because we would have one pickleball court. It would draw people from across the city. So developments from across the city can pay for that project.
Julia, go ahead, and then Randy after that.
I have two things. First, I want to follow up what Misty said. Not that we are not discussing the hub, but the hub is going to have unique components in the design. So that is going to attract people from different places of the city. I want to clarify that. Second, I want to follow up with Gabriela and, I think the money for the pickleball court, the bid base is there. I think some of us we are conflicted with, do we need to pay $300,000 more for a parking lot? Do we need to do it right now? Or, or can we do only the pickleball court, build those, and then, in the future, bring the parking lot? So I think, the money, if I see the number correctly, from the McGough Park and the Fahey Field Park Improvement Fund, the money is there to cover for the McGough Park CIP, the park fee, the $320,000, the money is there to pay for the court, for the A court. I think the concern that I have is, do we need to build the parking lot now? We have 2 parking lots in front of it, We have bike paths to connect, I don't know. That one are this one is my reasoning for this.
Randy, go ahead.
Well, I'm a little confused. I'm gonna go back to Misty. You mentioned if there's needs. I mean, it sounds almost what you described as it's very subjective. I mean, anything can be spun, and I mean, who defines if there are needs for those dollars to go to that particular park? I guess, or maybe I'm unclear of that definition.
Yeah, so if I may, Aaron.
Yeah. Yep.
So when we collect fees from Development A, let's just call that for example, when we collect those fees, the first priority should be putting in a park right next to it or real close to it that would be, meet the needs of that neighborhood. Sometimes there's either money left over or that's not realistic based on the landlocked development that this may be. So if there isn't an opportunity to spend that money really close to that development, then that money would be able to be used for another project that would still draw those residents and still be used by those residents, but isn't adjacent to their specific development.
Okay, all right. Okay, I thought I was clear with this earlier, but I'm in support of the hub. We all seem to have gone in that direction. I'm hearing different things. Parking lot, some are concerned with money. I'm almost getting the impression that there's some concern that the money's not going to be available to build the hub. Well, I think Misty answered the question. The money is there or will be there, and it's committed. So I'm still in support of pickleball. I mean, and I'm not having a problem with the parking lot because it's serving the needs of the north and the south athletic fields. And based on what I have observed, some of those parking lots are they're packed at peak times. And I just don't know if there's enough parking space to meet the needs of the pickleball. So I'm in support of the resolution as it stands.
Tom?
Just food for thought for the future, that's all my comments going to be. But the pickleball court is in front of us tonight, and that's it, really. It's not the hub. It's not the path around Dunn's Marsh or off of Seminole Highway. It's the hub. That's not it. From what I'm hearing tonight from 2 people from the Finance Committee, why did you vote for it? Why wasn't it a 2-to-1 vote? And you know what? If you want these things, you have to remember you can only discuss it if it's on the agenda for tonight. Put it in the budget and see if it survives. That's your answer. But what I'm hearing tonight, I'm amazed. I'm just kind of amazed that, this Finance Committee, it should have been, and I don't want to speak for you, that's not fair, but from what I'm hearing, it should have been a 2-to-1 vote. And it wasn't. It sounds to me it was a 3-0. And if you didn't like it, vote against it. And you're bringing up a whole lot of different things that are not on the agenda tonight. And you can't vote on that. And they really shouldn't even be brought up because you're out of order. And, what's in front of us is a pickleball court. It's either kind of a yes or no comment, or abstain. There we go. You abstain. But I have this feeling in future councils that this is what's going to happen. These other issues are going to come up. Put it in the budget. That's where it belongs. And if you want, see how it survives. But what's in front of us tonight is a pickleball court. Gee, I'm almost talking like a city administrator, aren't I? And I'm not the city administrator. But that's what's in front of you tonight is a pickleball court.
Misty, so just to be clear, we do need to at least do an amendment to change the dollar amounts to what you had emailed us, correct?
Correct. There are those $3 amounts that I'll need to change.
Okay, so if someone wants to at least amend that piece to it, that'd be great. Sarah?
Is it possible for me to say that I would accept that as a friendly, or no, does it need to be, I can make an amendment to accept Misty's?
Let's do it formally, just because it's dollars.
Makes sense. I'd like to make an amendment to follow Misty's recommended financial changes as noted within the email.
All right. Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Randy. All right. Any further discussion on this piece to it? All right. All in favor of amending the resolution to the dollar amounts in Misty's email, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, so that passes. So we still have the amendment now changed if there's any further questions or comments at all. I believe, Misty, you said that because it is dollars, that it has to be 2/3, I believe, correct?
Correct. We are using money that is not currently budgeted to be spent, so that does need a 2/3 vote.
All right. Any further comments or questions or anything? Yeah, Julia.
Can I put an amendment to this to only approve the bid base?
Sure, if you'd like to. Is that informal?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, second by Joe. So the amendment is to only have the base bid and to remove the alternates. Is there any questions, comments on that? Dorothy?
Can someone remind me what the base bid all includes or does not include?
I believe it's the pickleball courts, and then there is a path to the pickleball courts. I believe that's all, but Misty or Scott, you can correct me if I'm wrong, or Bill. It looks like Bill might know. You're on mute though, Bill.
I can show you a quick map here. So the base bid is the area that is not colored, and the alternate is the red area.
So it looks like the pickleball courts and then a path on the bottom, along the bottom of them is the base bid. Okay.
I have a question for Bill, and these are connected to the other parking lot?
The path itself connected?
The path, yeah.
I believe it is. Is that correct, Bill?
It,
Or at
yes,
least
it
to the
does. It is
driveway.
connected to the,
Okay. And it's connected to the parking lot on the east side, isn't it? That one is
The driveway, essentially, yeah. I mean, that's where the
Yeah.
parking lot is.
okay, that one is the safe part to cross the park, isn't it? Yes.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Dorothy, I think I see your hand up.
Yep. What would be the repercussions of doing just the base bid now and putting the parking lot into a CIP project?
Bill, do you want to
Is that a reasonable thing that we could do?
speak to that, Bill?
Sure. Yeah, we could add that into a parking lot project on its own, or with a resurfacing project coming up, or next year, whenever it is. It's just that right now we've got a contractor in there that would be doing all the site grading and the asphalt for the entire project. It's just having it all done at one time is just, it's better to have it done at once than to mobilize, twice. So you could potentially see higher bids come in for, a standalone project at the park itself.
And then do we have, what is the condition of the current parking lots? Do we have major work that's going to be happening to fix up those parking lots in the near future?
Yeah, yes, the CIP outlines the number of parking lots. We're going to be over in the McKee Farms Park parking lots next, before we get over to some in City Hall. The parking lots in McKee or McGaw are not anywhere to be seen on the CIP list yet.
Okay, so it's wouldn't be easy to tie the addition of one into the reconstruction of another?
Coming up in 22 is when we would be doing the next resurfacing. Yeah, it's possible to do that.
Other comments? All right, seeing none. So saying aye, you'd be in favor of just doing alternate one, just the pickleball courts and the path along the bottom of those. And a no would say, no, you don't want to make it just the pickleball courts. So all in favor of amending it to just be alternate one, say aye.
Isn't it the opposite?
And then if you are opposed to making that change, say nay.
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 Why don't we just do a roll call? Sorry, Tracy, it's hard with mics on and off. I'm not sure. I have no idea how many people. I don't think I heard 8 votes.
So just for clarification, this is a roll call vote on the amendment to only approve base bid and not include the alternates.
Correct.
Alder Radafrada,
Aye.
Alder Clouder,
Aye.
Alder Gerhart,
Aye.
Alder Krause,
Aye.
Alder Maldonado,
Aye.
Alder Schroeder,
Nay.
Alder Strassman,
Aye.
Alder Udell,
Nay.
All right. So now it is. All right, so that passes. So now we're back to the amended motion, main motion, which is just the pickleball courts and the one path, I should say, but no parking lot and additional. Yeah, Misty.
We also might need to amend the budget amendment resolution.
Oh.
A bit then too. Is the base bid less than the 320?
I think so, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I would ask to put a 10% contingency on that too, please.
Are you Misty? Are you figuring out the dollar amount right now for that?
I'm trying to find it.
I think it's 288, 694.90. That's
690.
yeah, and it is in the resolution. It is in the resolution, Misty.
In the new resolution, you have 298, 694.90 is the base.
And I would request, the standard 10% contingency too, please.
So then, based on that, if you do authorize that, that would be about, we'll just round it to 330,000 if that's okay for everybody. So then that extra 10,000, I would suggest coming out of the miscellaneous fees in lieu of parkland. So that 21,872, making that $10,000 and then striking the rest of the budget amendment language.
Okay, so someone wants to also propose that motion. That'd be great to update the numbers.
I make that motion. Update the numbers as Misty just laid out.
All right,
And I'll second that one.
signed by Dorothy. Any further questions on changing the numbers on this one at all? All right, seeing none, all in favor of updating the numbers to what Misty read off, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, so that is amended as well. All right, now I think we've got an okay amendment with updated numbers and stuff. Any further questions, comments, or anything on this?
So can you explain exactly what we're voting on again?
Yeah, so we're at the main motion now, and then a yes vote would be for just the base bid, which is the 8 pickleball courts, and then there is a path to the pickleball courts. That's it. So there's no parking lots. I think there's some additional paths or something like that too in the alternate, but what you're voting yes on is 8 pickleball courts and then a path to them, a walking path to them.
And if we vote against, that's end of resolution. I mean, we're voting for nothing.
Yeah, if you vote yes, it's kind of, this is right now we're kind of at the final.
Thank you.
All right. Seeing nothing else, since we do need the 2/3, I'll just ask for the roll call, Tracy, just to be sure.
Okay, so just for clarification for me, this is a motion as amended with the 3 amendments, changing the dollar amounts per Misty's email, only approving the base bid and not including the alternates, and then updating the budget amendment numbers as Misty laid out.
Correct.
Okay, what if
Is there Misty?
that 10% contingency, was that built into the base bid amendment, or can we add that in?
That's what I thought I was amending it as.
Yeah, I thought that's what you had included, Misty, is the base with the like 30,000 alternate.
So there's 2 pieces though. So the budget amendment piece I know we're good on, but then the actual authorizing of the contract and the spending of the money, I think the contingency might not be included in there.
So what do you want us to do?
So right now you've authorized the base bid of the 298,000.
Mm-hmm.
So I think somebody should do an amendment to also authorize a 10% contingency on the base bid.
I thought that's what you did when you said that the total was like 330,000.
Yeah, so that was for the budget amendment piece though, not for the authorizing the contract.
Okay, so the contract authorization also needs to reflect the whatever we approved in the moment. Okay.
The contingency, otherwise we'll have to come back if that contingency is needed.
All right, so I guess we need one more amendment to do that.
I'll make a motion to,
All right, Gabriella.
as it stands, to add a 10% contingency to that base bid.
All right.
I can second that again.
All right, second by Dorothy again. All right, anything else? Clear as mud. All right, all in favor of, again, this is just the amendment. This isn't the main motion. This is making sure all the numbers are accurate for Misty to sleep well at night. All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, now I think we're good on a final motion, which is just the base bid. All right, Tracy, would you like to?
You bet. Alder Radafrada,
Aye.
Alder Clouder,
Aye.
Alder Gerhart,
Aye.
Alder Krause,
Aye.
Alder Maldonado,
Aye.
Alder Schroeder,
Aye.
Alder Strassman,
Aye.
Alder Udell.
Aye.
Motion carried unanimous.
All right, excellent, thank you. All right, anything else for Public Works, Sarah?
Nope, nothing else.
All right, what about Parks?
We met on March 5th and we discussed resident interest in community gardens for Briarwood, Jamestown, Hugo, and Quarry Hill. We put forward a discussion to continue the conversation and pursue resident feedback if there was community interest in those parks that, for an example, currently exist in Swan Creek. Like Mike had said, Sunnyside Park is closed starting tomorrow until further notice. We also discussed a story walk moving forward into McKee Park, which is, I think, a really cool initiative of having a book posted light posts throughout the park to really encourage reading and exercise outdoors. And our next meeting is April 1st.
All right, thank you. Library Board, Randy.
Yes, we have not met since our last council meeting, but the next library board meeting is Wednesday, March 17th at 5:30, which is next week. But I do have some updates. The library will surpass 20,000 curbside orders this week. And then as Sarah mentioned, the Story Walk project was approved by the Parks Commission and hoping to install by May.
All right, thank you.
All I have.
All right, Commission on Aging Well, Dorothy.
Thank you. We'll be meeting Thursday morning at 8:30. Main agenda items are the annual report of the Senior Center, presentation on the Equity and Inclusion project that Mandy is part of, and a number of city staff are participating in, and the Senior Center Volunteer Program update.
All right. Thank you. RCC, Gabriella.
Yeah, we had a great meeting last night. The Groundswell Conservancy, 2 members of it came to talk about a farm here in Fitchburg, the Pasley Swan Creek Farm. And it's 35 acres here in Fitchburg, and they are going to be doing some, they've already started, but they're going to be doing more over time. Neighborhood food programs through an organization called Neighborhood Food Solutions, including a teen program, learning how to grow food and garden, and that those teens are typically selected through Commonwealth Development. So a really interesting partnership. And then they'll also have another organization farming on the area called Trade Routes, which is an organization that grows food from the African diaspora. It's a pilot program. And then they're hoping to do more education program, maybe even build a facility in the near future where they can bring in kids to learn. They're going to have nature trails. There's access to Swan Creek there. It sounds like a really, really fascinating piece of land. I hope I'll go, I'm hoping to go tour it sometime in the near future, and hopefully I'll extend the invitation to the rest of the council if you want to check it out. So if you want to find out a little bit more, it's the Groundswell Conservancy, and it's called the Pasley's Swan Creek Farm. And they just presented last night at RCC. A couple other things from that meeting. Save the date for our Waterway Cleanup event. We select several different waterways in the city of Fitchburg and do kind of a walkthrough cleanup. That's going to be April 10th from 9 to 11 a.m. Again, April 10th, 9 to 11 a.m. If it rains out, we will probably reschedule for April 17th. And it should be a fun day. We also, we also have access to 2 off-road wheelchairs through an organization called Accessibility Wisconsin. So if there's somebody that has mobility issues but wants to participate, there are going to be 2 wheelchairs that can be accessible. If you have questions about that, feel free to reach out to me and I'll connect you with the right people to talk to get that access. Another save the date, we are going to have our fall recycling event on Saturday, November 6th from 8 to 11 a.m. Again, the fall recycling event on Saturday, November 6th from 8 to 11 a.m. And we haven't had that for a while, so hopefully y'all been saving up some things to recycle and be able to bring it out on that date. Another note, we got a grant to do a storm drain mural in the Terravesa neighborhood, and that will be happening this summer. So hopefully we can show a picture of that sometime later this year. And we also will we will certainly have an opening on the Resource Conservation Commission this year. The current chair is stepping down. So if you're interested in Resource Conservation Commission, recycling, sustainability, stormwater issues, feel free to throw an application in on the website and to be considered. Our next meeting is going to be Monday, May 10th at 6:30 p.m. And I hope we'll see some of you on that April 10th Waterway Cleanup. That's all for RCC.
All right, how about TTC?
Yes, the Transportation and Transit Committee is meeting this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. It is also going to be, at the very beginning, a public hearing about public transportation. So specifically, the committee is seeking feedback about the bus system in Fitchburg. We're hoping to have members of the public attend to talk about, recent transit service changes due to COVID-19, what your needs are in terms of getting around the city on public transit, and opportunities for future services or what you would like to see. Really anything that you might have to give feedback on in terms of public transportation, we want to hear from you. So the first public hearing is going to be at TTC on Thursday, March 11th at 6:30 p.m. Again, Thursday, March 11th, that's in a couple days from now at 6:30 p.m. And then we'll have a second meeting on Wednesday, March 17th, that's St. Patrick's Day, at 10 a.m. Again, the second meeting will be on Wednesday, March 17th at 10 a.m. And these will both be accessible online by Zoom, or you can actually come into council chambers as well, and we can accommodate you if that's easier for you. I will, if you want to find the links to register for Zoom, the easiest way to do it, in my opinion, is just to search Fitchburg Public Transportation Services on Google, and the page will pop right up, and there's 2 links to sign on to those public meetings. So again, Google Public Transportation Services, and you will find the link to the page with the meeting links. Hope to see a few of you there to talk about public transportation in Fitchburg. That's all.
All right. Tom, your question?
Gabriel, I think it was just an oversight. You can double check this. You're at home and you can check it, but I got a call late this afternoon and I should have passed it on to you, but you were at finance. Double check TTC. I don't think it's on the website and it should be out there. I just think it was an oversight. And I know why this person called me, because they were interested in what's on your agenda coming up. And it's not out there, so just give it a check, and I think you're not going to find it. For
Like
some
the
reason,
agenda.
it just didn't get posted, maybe. That's
Oh, yes, the agenda is not up. Yes, thank you. Yep, I will check on it.
We can have Mike or Misty check on that too for you.
Yeah, the agenda's not up, but the meetings are available on the website still. If you do that Google, you'll be able to find you won't be able to find the agenda, but you will be able to find the links to hop on for the public hearing.
whatever. Okay. That's-
Sita, Julia.
So we are meeting next week.
All right. Let's see. Ag and Rural Affairs, Randy.
We are meeting next week as well, Tuesday at 4 o'clock, March 16th. Nothing to report.
All right. EMS, Shannon.
We meet next Thursday, but other than that, nothing to report.
All right. Bike Committee, Joe.
No updates other than the next bike committee meeting. Also, just if you're a cyclist, just make sure you're looking at the bike website to figure out which trails are closed. There's I know for sure there's a closing on part of the Cannonball Trail, headed like from right under the roundabout in Dunn's Marsh all the way up to McKee. So just be on the lookout for that so you're not caught off guard. Also, there is a Trek scholarship that I mentioned last time. It's basically a free bike and registration into bike races, and it's for students from low-income backgrounds, so check that out as well.
All right. Tree Advisory, Gabriella.
We are meeting this Thursday, March 11th at 4 p.m., and we'll be discussing the potential future tree protection ordinance.
All right. Landmarks Preservation, Shannon.
We haven't met in a while, so I'll let you know when we have more.
All right. Housing Advisory, Dorothy.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, we met yesterday, had a fairly long agenda, really good discussions and good updates on a lot of things. Gorman and Company is doing a project in Milwaukee where they are buying and rehabbing single-family lots there, buying or replacing depending on the quality of the homes. And then they are renting them to people for 15 years while they pay back the loan that it took to buy it and rehab it. And then after that 15 years, they sell it to the tenant for the remaining loan amount. In Milwaukee, that tends to be about $30,000. So that's an interesting program that we're kind of looking at. We had update, Dane County is going to be doing another update on their regional housing strategy. That's going to be this year and next year. There'll be information available on that. We talked some more about the accessory dwelling unit question. The notes from our last meeting went to CETA. So hopefully CETA then is talking about it and talking about what we might do. One of my main questions in the accessory dwelling units is the disparity between our current old traditional Euclidean zoning and what they have in the smart code zoning. Those two are very distinctly different. I'd like to figure out a way to bring those a little bit closer in line with one another. We were also talking about the alder engagement in development processes. Developers would like to encourage us to be more involved than we are. And then we talked about affordable housing endowment pilot program. And Mike might want to say a thing or two about this. They met today. They are contracting with HNA advisors to look at a townhome project, I believe. And that's all that we knew about it yesterday. So if Mike is around, if he wants to say what happened at that meeting, it might be interesting to hear.
Joyce and I had a meeting with Mike Harrigan and Steve Appleback from H&A Advisors, and they're putting their scope of services together. So you probably will see something at the April 22nd CETA meeting. That'll be the start of a survey that actually would go out to multiple kind of parties and constituencies as we approach that project there. And that'll include the Housing Advisory Committee, CETA, Council, and other entities as well.
Okay, and that's all I've got for that. Thank you.
All right, Julia, question?
Yeah, a question for the housing committee for you, Dorothy, or maybe Mike is, last year I think we approved the Dane County Housing Authority to have authority in Fitchburg. Have we heard any project that they're bringing to us, or what is, what is the status about that?
Mike?
We haven't heard anything from them, Julia, with the authorization of the resolution there. So we haven't heard anything as far as a new project or acquiring existing housing stock at this point in time. They did have a change in executive director there. So I think she's been on board for just about a year from when we approved the resolution.
All right, seeing nothing else, how about healthy neighborhoods, Dorothy?
We are going to be meeting on the 10th, and we have a slew of, I have the numbers. No, I don't have the numbers of, I think it was 170 something thousand in requests that we had for grant money. We had 63,000 available. So our meeting is going to be going through the applications that we received and deciding how to divvy up the money that is available when we had more than twice that amount come in as requests. So that is the 10th at 2 o'clock. And that, of course, will be virtual. So if people want to jump on that, Scott knows how to get you in line with that.
All right. Finance Committee, Julia.
Okay, in the Finance Committee, we approve bills, the detailed review of all check issued, check number 121-8449-121870, dated February 16 to February 28, totaling $854,935.15. We also review the detail of all ACH payments from February 1st to the 28th, totaling $505,265.93. And this is mine. Okay, yeah. And then some of the action item is I move approval of ordinance 2021-0004, an ordinance amending purchasing and public contract ordinance, Chapter 10, Article 4, Section 10-303 through the Section 10-447 of Fitchburg General Code of Ordinance.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Signed by Gabriella. And what's this one, Julia?
So this one is, we review all the purchasing policy ordinance that the city of Fitchburg use, and that we need to follow. So that one was it was more like a, making some updates. Let me go through my finance committee. So we went through the whole chapter with Misty and review all the changes. There are some changes that, we need to be aligned with the state status, and then some of the changes we want to align with them, and we try to streamline the process and be more flexible. We update some of the purchasing policies, values, and what else? It hasn't been updated for a long time. So that one was like a cleaning up this chapter.
All right. Misty, anything you want to add to that?
Just that there's a summary memo included in this reporting document that points out each one of the significant changes, and then the actual ordinance is redlined in there. So these are recommendations from me based on information and recommendations from the staff, the various department heads that do these purchasings, trying to find ways to streamline our processes and make things clearer and cleaner for everyone. Obviously, there's lots of things that still need to come to council that will continue to. And just a reminder that when you go through the budget process, you're already telling staff that you want to purchase these things. So for the couple of items that are exempt, if this is approved, those are all things that would be approved in the budget, and then it could just be handled administratively rather than having to come back to council for those pretty easy items.
All right. Dorothy?
Yeah, looking at this, I see that local businesses and women and minority-owned businesses continue to be encouraged to apply. Is there a way that we give preferential to those?
So I know there's certain, public construction has requirements on there that I don't believe you're allowed to give preferential treatment. As of right now, generally we go with best value, so usually low bid. We don't currently provide preferential treatment to certain businesses, and I don't really know how I would monitor that necessarily.
Yeah,
I guess maybe, but I don't know how.
I think the county has some language that kind of provides for that. I can help look for that, and maybe we can talk about it a little bit.
Gabriella?
We talked a little bit about that section in finance, and Bill actually said that I think City of Madison keeps a list of minority and women-owned businesses that they send out information to when they have a bid open, and that we potentially could ask them if they can provide us with that information, and we can do the same. Make sure that they have at least notice that we are bidding out something. And he said Bill said he'd look into that. So just an update I thought it was a nice note, and hopefully we can follow up with that sometime in a future date.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, that one's approved. Next.
Next, I move approval of resolution R-40-21, amending the 2021 fee schedule to adopt a state fee schedule for fire alarm and fire suppression system plan review into the building inspection fee schedule.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Gabriella. All right, what's this one about?
So this one is our building inspection. Inspector can perform fire alarm and fire suppression, and they can collect some fee, and then during the budget time, we already allocated the amount for this revenue. They were like almost $10,000, but now if you look at the package, we are splitting how those fee are gonna be what type of fee they're gonna be more specific. So this one is we need to have a resolution. It's a separate resolution from another one that is coming, and there is another one in public and safety, because we need to have a separate resolution for the fee schedule. But this one is, we are going to start collecting, performing these services because we have the certification and the training, and then collect some of these fees that are going to be for new, according to Misty. Misty, you can remind me of that. I think it's for new buildings, isn't it? Yes.
All right. Any questions at all? Yeah, Tom.
Yep. Is the fire chief on? I don't think he is he?
No.
Misty, do you know how much they went up? What's the cost on this, or can you give me a little idea what from the state fee, or did it go up how much, or what was the increase? Do you know?
Yeah, Aaron?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is a new thing for the city. So the city hasn't provided this service before. There is, and the fees that you guys are adopting, hopefully with this resolution, is as required by the state. So the city doesn't really have flexibility in how much we will charge for this service. So when a new building comes in, they can choose to go to the state and get their plans reviewed for this particular purpose, or they can choose to come to the city and do it. The fees are a little bit different. The bigger incentive, from what I understand, is that the state has a backlog, and our staff might be able to get to it a little bit quicker than what the state could.
If I buy an apartment in Fitchburg, do I have to change all the fire codes to meet the state code then, or do you know what I'm referring to? If there's a new owner, do you have to do that? Does that get changed then, or not?
I would like to defer to Mike on that one. I know there's a whole history with sprinkler ordinances.
Mike wants to defer to someone else, I think.
No, I think the state has preempted us on the sprinkler, code and ordinances that we have there. So I think we're following the state code on that.
So we don't have to? Or?
Right.
Yeah, I think if someone else buys it, it doesn't trigger that you have to
It doesn't.
update codes. I think it's when you're
have to
doing
upgrade.
remodeling.
You two know where I'm going. It was really strict. It's important to have the fire code, don't get me wrong. It's important, but it was so restricted. It was so, that was one of the biggest things that was a complaint in the city. People didn't want to buy anything here because we had said it was strict codes, and they're important, but I was wondering if this added to it.
No, it doesn't. No, because they preempted our code there.
All right, Dorothy.
And I believe this is only talking about new construction. It doesn't talk about maintenance or anything on existing buildings at all that I saw.
Anything else? All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, that's approved. One more.
So next I need move approval of resolution R-56-21, amending the 2021 budget for various funds. They are the 2020 carryovers.
Second.
All right, seconded by Randy. And what's this one about?
So this is all the unspent project funds. They are eligible for carryover into the following year if there is unique circumstances, and that maybe can cause delay, that we couldn't do it in 2020, but we need to bring it to 2021. So this is where you will see the list there with all the projects. You will see that the amount is kind of large compared to previous year because we have some road construction project that they're going to be paid this year. But we do this every year, and we need 2/3 of the vote because it's a budget amendment.
Any questions for this? All right, seeing none. I know we need 2/3, but I don't think anyone's going to vote against it. So if someone does, I'll do a roll call, but otherwise we'll just do a voice vote for now. All in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay? All right, that's approved. Anything else for finance?
No, that's it for now.
All right, personnel, Dorothy?
We will be meeting, for one, and, recall what Sarah's had said earlier in this meeting is what we'll be talking about.
All right. Public safety, Sarah?
Yeah, I'll move ordinance 2021-003, amending chapter 35, section 77 to adopt Wisconsin Administrative Code SPS 30231 related to fee schedules for building structures, heating, ventilation, and fire protection systems.
Second.
Seconded by Randy. And did you approve in public safety?
Yes.
Did finance approve?
Yes.
All right. And do you want to speak to this, Sarah, or you want someone else to?
I'd love it if Misty would. This one, it just relates really
Right.
to Julia's earlier one where it's a fee schedule change, but if you wouldn't mind, Misty, you'll speak to it better than I am.
Go ahead, Misty.
So the resolution we just did was actually establishing the fee schedule. We're kind of doing this backwards. The ordinance that you're now talking about will actually allow us to do the reviews in the first place. So we kind of set the fee first, and now we're saying we're going to do the work for those same reviews.
Any questions on this one? Seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, that is approved. Mayor's reports, the only thing, and Gabriella had to kind of comment a little bit about it earlier, we do have some openings on various committees and commissions that, unfortunately, I don't have those in front of me, but everything has some things that are up for reappointment anyway. So if you're watching from home or you know people who might be interested, please have them sign up. By the end of the month here, I'll be looking to call people to get those filled. I believe it's the organizational meeting, which is actually the third Tuesday of April, that we will approve most of those anyway. And so if you know people that are interested, please make sure to sign up. If you're watching from home, please sign up because there's a lot of committees out there and we're always looking for more good people. Let's see, all the reports, I believe we're starting with District 1 again. Dorothy, would you like to go first?
Sure. The only thing that I was going to bring up, since we don't do census reports anymore, we know, and for people that have been eagerly waiting to see what happens with redistricting, I know there's big community conversations about redistricting, much bigger than just Fitchburg. We were told that we would get numbers the end of July. It looks like now it's going to be closer to the end of September before we can start that. One kind of fun thing is the county is working on a map application that public can use to play with various iterations of district maps. And I may have talked to some people about this already, but I would love to see Fitchburg buy into that so that we can have our own customized application that residents can kind of play with and help the committee to kind of think through how we might lay out the new Alder districts. So that's something to give some thought to, and if people want more information about it, I'd be happy to supply.
All right, Joe.
Sure, I got a couple things. So tomorrow I will be joining officials from Madison-Dane County Public Health to announce the rollout of the roadmap to reducing violence. If for the folks that didn't know, public health treats community violence as a health epidemic. It's modeled after the city of Milwaukee, who created a blueprint for peace in 2015, actually labeling violence a community health epidemic and putting resources towards collaboration and prevention. And what Milwaukee did over the course of 5 years is reduce their murder rate by 33%. So they actually saved lives by investing on the front end in violence prevention. Our city county public health department does the same. That document is going to be released shortly, as well as the press conference. So I encourage you to check out the public health website for that report and read through it. I think it reiterates one of the things that I've been saying on the council for since I've got on, which is prevention is much less costly than intervention. The goals of that blueprint are understanding violence in our community through data, supporting community engagement with children, youth, and families, fostering strong neighborhoods, bolstering and increasing intervention and continuous healing for those affected by violence, and strengthening community capacity, collaboration, and coordination of violence prevention efforts. So, I encourage folks that are watching this to please take a look at that report once it's released and really think about how, not only at a county level, but at a city level, we can invest in prevention rather than investing so heavily in intervention. The second thing I wanted to do is give a shout out to a District 1 resident. Shalisha Johnson is the owner of Aerostar Photography. She's been in this community for a really long time. She got an article in the Cap Times, We're Going to Be a Force. So I encourage folks to look that up and just read up on, one of the gems that lives in our community. She's been a long time early childhood worker and ventured off into her own photography business a few years ago, and she's great. And then wanted to give another reminder to folks about Fitchburg Pharmacy that, you can get your COVID tests there. Just sign up on their website for an appointment, as well as signing up to eventually receive a vaccine. I'm going to be getting mine this coming Wednesday along with staff at my wife's store, Luna's Groceries. I encourage everybody, who gets the opportunity to get the vaccine to take it. And I also encourage folks to, be sure to mask up and socially distance and stay at home when necessary. And then finally, I will be hosting a new series called D1 All-Stars. It's gonna highlight residents of our district. It'll air monthly on Fact TV. The first episode is coming out this Thursday at 6:30 on Channel 2. And my guest will be Meredith Shelton, who is with our Fitchburg Fire Department. She lives in the Jamestown neighborhood. She's also president of the Fitchburg Verona Rotary. So stay tuned for that. And if you miss it, you can catch it on the Fact TV YouTube channel. That's all I got.
All right, District 2, Julia.
So I want to mention that people that yesterday I went for a walk around some of the bike paths around District 2. The snow is melting, and I can see that some of the pet owners need to be more careful with their pets, okay? And clean after their dogs, okay? So please do it. So I want to also, yesterday was the International Women's Day, so I want to congratulate to all my female colleagues here in the council, because, for the work that we are doing here and outside home, working, being a public servant. So I want to say congratulations to all of us here in the council and the city staff ladies too. So feliz día a todas las mujeres, especialmente en este mes de marzo. And then I want to mention that it was the first public meeting for the fish hatchery reconstruction road that is going to affect District 3 and 2 more than District 2, and then in the second phase. So it was a meeting last week to discuss the planning for this year. So I think I have seen a lot of these orange cones already in fish hatchery. So I think that it's going to start when soon, in April 1st, Bill. I don't remember the day, but it's coming. So what else? You can watch this meeting in the city website. They tape it, so in case that you want to know additional information about how this is going to impact your commute or how it's going to be done this year. So that's it.
All right, Gabriella.
I just wanted to reiterate for those that another shout out for the public transportation public hearings that are coming up this and next week. If you have opinions about the Fitchburg public transportation, please come and make a statement and be heard. The first one is this Thursday, March 11th at 6:30 p.m. Again, that's this Thursday, March 11th at 6:30 p.m. The second one is going to be Wednesday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day at 10 a.m. Again, that's Wednesday, March 17th at 10 a.m. You can find links to get on Zoom for these meetings by searching Fitchburg Public Transportation Service on Google, and it should pop up the page with the links. And then a second note, I saw a great post from the Fitchburg Fire Rescue on Facebook. And if you don't follow Fitchburg Fire Rescue, definitely give them a like on Facebook if you frequent Facebook. They had an incident that they responded to, and somebody had plugged in a space heater to a wall adapter. You know, those you put in a wall adapter to make your one outlet into multiple outlets. Someone had plugged a space heater in, and it had overloaded the outlet and was pretty close to starting a fire. And this is a mistake I've made in the past, I'm ashamed to say, but I don't think a lot of people don't really realize that there's some things that you cannot plug into those adapters. And if you do, it actually becomes a pretty significant fire hazard. Any major appliances or things that produce heat are things that can be dangerous. So you should always look up before you do that. But anyway, it's been on my mind because I haven't had my heat on as much lately because it's getting warmer, and I've been using a space heater. And when I saw that post, I was like, oh, gotta remember to be careful. So anyway, keep that in mind and keep your spaces safe. Thanks.
All right, District 3, Sarah.
I have very similar updates to Julia, just that the pick up your dog is a friendly reminder just because it is spring, and just it'd be great because it definitely is some messy areas within the District 3 right now. Also, just that Fahey Fields is really expanding. It's exciting to see the development in that area, just that every time kind of taking a walk, there's a new house coming up. So that area is really moving along. And then lastly, it was just from that fish hatchery meeting, it would be that starting March 15th, the barrels will start appearing south of Traceway. So really hitting District 3, that they're preparing for that construction to kick off, and that it is planned to go from April through November. So those orange barrels that are put in place in March will be there for quite some time. That's all I have.
All right, Shannon.
My second, what Sarah said, nothing further.
All right, District 4, Randy.
No, nothing to report.
All right, Tom. Go ahead, Tom.
I just have a couple things from District 4, and it has to do with these road projects that was already brought up for fish hatchery. But in District 4, there's the first one I want to mention. There was a meeting, but it's more important that people on Sign Road to the east and to the west stay tuned for the road construction on Sign Road. It's going to be some changes down there, major changes. You may want to check with the city in reference to my comments. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can plug into the city and find out about what's in your front yard, because it is coming pretty quick. And the other one was on West Lacey Road. That area, as far as I'm concerned, serves Tower Hill, Wildwood South, Seminole, Lacey Heights. That's a huge project coming. At the same time, it's the east-west quarter to the city. Stay tuned. That's what I want to tell you. Just stay tuned, because those are two huge projects that involve District 4. Thank you.
All right. There's no unfinished business. New business, we already did A. So B, direct referrals. Is this Sarah? Do you want to do this one?
Sure. I move resolution R4121, authorizing approval for bids of construction of public improvements for East Sherrill Parkway.
Second.
Sent by Shannon. And did Public Works approve?
Yes.
Did Finance approve?
Yes.
All right, and what's this about, sir?
This is for part of TID 4 that includes the Promega area. It's that new building that will be opening up this year. It's resurfacing required and narrowing of the roadway at Woods Hollow for the pedestrian crosswalk. It's required for public improvements.
All right. Any questions on this one? Seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, that is approved. Let's see, next one, maybe Gabriella, you want to do that one?
I can take this.
All right.
I move approval of resolution R5521, authorizing budget amendment to allow for change order to Lake Barney stormwater study.
Seconded by Tom. And did RCC pass?
Yes.
Did Finance pass this?
Yes.
All right, and what's this about?
Yeah, basically this is a change of the budget for this project by $6,000. There's some additional analysis that needs to be done, and also an additional meeting that needs to be attended by the contractors. So $6,000, it is being transferred from another CIP project. So it's a net zero effect. And it was made clear that the project it's being transferred from, it will not have an effect on accomplishing that project. So.
All right, questions at all on this one? Seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And opposed, nay. All right, that's approved. Let's see, number 3, Sarah, do you want to do this one too?
Sure. Move resolution R5721, approving the First Amendment to the agreement for repayment of non-developer project costs.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, seconded by Gabriella. Did Public Works approve?
Yes.
Did Finance approve? I think I saw red lips of yes. All right, thumbs up. Okay, good. And Scott, is this the one we have a public comment? Okay, next one. Okay. All right, what's this one about, sir?
This one is just extending the original agreement that had approval dates that had ended prematurely. This amendment pushes the dates out to the end of 2022 to align with the construction of Lacey Road.
All right. Any questions on this one? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
There's a public I think there's a public appearance on this item.
Oh, is it this one or this next one? I think it's the
Oh,
next
I'm sorry,
one.
I may be confused, excuse me.
Yep. All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right. And opposed, nay. All right. That's approved. Next up, number 4. Sarah, you want to do this one too?
Sure. Move resolution R5821, approving the Second Amendment to the agreement for subdivision improvements in the Payne and Dolan, CSM.
Is there a second?
Second.
Our screen's down. I'm not sure. I heard someone say it. I don't know who it was. All right. Did Public Works approve?
Yes.
Did Finance approve?
Yes.
All right. And then we have a public comment on this. Jay, go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. I appreciate the opportunity to say a few words tonight on this item. I'm here to caution you about approving this unless you can confirm that this approval will in no way inhibit the council from asking for changes to the Lacey Road reconstruction project that was offered for first review by the public on February 17th, and for which there have been a series of questions submitted about the project, the implications, the costs, the alternatives. And the concern on the part of some of the people who've submitted those questions is whether or not this approval, some point in the future from now, might have an impact on whether or not the council has full discretion to ask for some revisions to the proposal. And I'm not going to get into the details of the proposal tonight. I just want to emphasize that we hope that the council is going to keep an open mind on the issues that have been raised about this project, and that the approval of it or amendment to the proposal made on February 17th, the council should have full latitude to consider the comments that were offered and decide what they really want to do with this 1.3 miles of Lacey Road between Fitch-Rona and Seminole Highway. And the concern again is, if you would approve this, does that in any way, shape, or form preclude or reduce the options and flexibility you have down the road? And again, I appreciate the opportunity. The Zoom opportunity is really fantastic, and I thank you for your service to Fitchburg and listening to these suggestions.
All right, thank you. Sarah, do you want to speak to more about what the resolution's about?
I guess I would like to hear Bill's perspective.
All right.
From what I had understood, it was just that the First Amendment had the date that ended too early, and that this was pushing it back to allow for the project. But Bill, if you wouldn't mind expanding, that'd be great.
Yeah, this amendment is just pushing the dates back to the end of 2022 to correspond with the Lacey Road project construction. The original agreement had Promega, the developer, to install improvements along Lacey Road, which included a water main, sanitary sewer extension, and a bike path. They also had a requirement of providing the installation of Commerce Park Drive and the intersection improvements to tie into Lacey Road. Other than that, the agreement just states that they are to provide the intersection improvements to tie into the future Lacey Road construction to be approved by the council or, at that time. So it hasn't been set in stone. We have a pretty good idea of what the design would be to match into that. And we're going through the public process of vetting all of those options, and the council will see those final improvements coming forward.
All right, thank you. This guy, you're gonna have to help me if someone has their hand raised without the big screen. I can't tell. Any comments or questions from anyone? Don't think so. All right. Seeing none, then I guess I'll go over to the vote. All in favor, say aye.
No,
Oh,
no.
Tom. Oh, sorry. Okay, Tom does. All right, go ahead.
That's fine. I think a lot of you know that or if you don't know, there's a number of questions that have been raised in Lacey Heights and Seminole Forest about this project. At the same time, those questions haven't been answered, and I know the city's working on it. I don't question that. And then there's another group of questions that came through, and I'm getting this from the neighbors. There's another group of questions of about 8 or 10, whatever, that they even want even more questions. So these all haven't been answered, and to the city's defense, I know that takes time. I get that. Now, in reference to this road, I talked about this before. This is a huge project north and south to the city of Fitchburg. And everybody, I don't question it, everybody wants to do it right. I don't question that at all. I question the questions that haven't been answered. Is this gonna lock us in to, Bill said a lot there. I mean, he said a lot. And I watched the meeting tonight on Public Works. And I just gotta share with you a little bit on the perceptions out there and what I hear. And these meetings not only are televised, but people watch certain meetings. They kind of tune in. They don't watch maybe they don't watch parks, but they watch, you know, transportation transit, or they don't watch CETA and they watch Public Works. And so I'm watching the Public Works meeting, the finance meeting tonight. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to pick on anyone in specific, but I was shocked. Finance Committee spent about 45 minutes on a pickleball court, and when they got to this, it took them 5 minutes to give it an okay. I was just numb. And the chair just kind of pushed it through, and instead of saying, wait a minute, we'll talk about this in length tonight, that's not what happened. I remember when I was a finance chair, if there was a problem in finance, I would push that meeting to the council so that it would have its day in court. This is a huge project for the city. And there's really questions about it, about how it's being done. You know, it's like where you approve this tonight, and yet there's more pieces to this puzzle. So it's like, in just my own thought, it's like the cart before the horse. It hasn't had its day in court. We've had one meeting on this, so what was it, February 17th? And that was it. And maybe there's gonna be another meeting. I did talk to Mike about it, and he said that there's a possibility there's gonna be another meeting. But I sure hope that you don't pass this tonight. And then I know about it, because somebody even called me today about it. There's $1 million out there, and like we had stated, like it's been stated, I'm not worried about the $1 million. Because in trying to get the $1 million, we could spend $3 million on the road. We don't have those numbers because the project is still in the making. I don't want to get into too many specifics into the specifics because, you know what, that's for another meeting. But I would sure hope this is delayed tonight and we get these questions answered. This has to go back to one of the most important committees in this city is Public Works. It hasn't had its day, as far as I'm concerned, it hasn't had its day in court in Public Works. I'm talking about the big project now, Sarah. I'm not talking about just one piece of it. I'm talking about the whole project. Because you guys at the last meeting, which I watched, you folks had a discussion, but there really wasn't much of a vote. It's going to come up on the next meeting on the 15th. So, I mean, I was just amazed watching the Finance Committee tonight. I was amazed at the amount of time that I saw and that was spent on this project. I was ready to watch it and I saw you had an early meeting. I was hoping it was going to be a good half-hour meeting, a discussion on this, and it lasted about 5 minutes, and then it was pushed to the council.
Mayor, can I?
Hold on, don't interrupt. Don't interrupt other people.
No, I watched the chair. I watched all of you. I watched the entire meeting. Jay talked. The Public Works Director talked. and then the chair just brought it on to city council. I'm going to say that again. You spent more time on a pickleball than you did on this road. This is so important to the city. So many unanswered questions. So many people that I think are going to show up. So I sure hope we don't approve this and it gets more time to it so it can be discussed. And I'm well aware of the $1 million that's out on the table. I'm aware of that. But what concerns me is you start shaving down that hill. I go this way all the time. I know this road like my own street in front of my house. There's going to be huge expense on shaving down that hill and changing the structure of that roadway. And I think the TIF is 12 million, correct me if I'm wrong, Misty. That can be eaten up real quick. So my point is, through all this, I sure hope we can delay this, get our questions answered, bring it back. Everybody can take a look at it. Public Works, you're going to discuss it on the 15th. It certainly didn't have its day in court. I'll leave it at that for now.
All right, I've got Julia and then Randy after that. Hold on, Mike.
I was just going to provide a clarification here.
These masks, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be harsh on it, but these masks, I've had more people tell me it's like muscle, it's not your fault.
Okay.
And I've had the shot, if people are out there wondering what's clot or keep it. I've had the 2 shots. I'm good to go. The governor told me I'm good to go. So, you know, I'll still wear the mask though, but.
Okay.
All right, Mike, go ahead and.
Yeah, just
provide
a
little more
clarification. This is an amendment to extend that required completion date of the Lacey Road project to December 31st of 2022. It's not changing the scope or doing anything with the scope of the project. I think as Public Works Director Bill Balke pointed out, they're still working on the design and engineering, and that will come back forward, you know, through the committee process and through the council there. So again, this is just an amendment to extend that completion date there to the subdivision improvement agreement. I'll also just add that the initial 39 questions that were submitted, staff huddled up about a week ago and divvied those up to respective department heads based on their expertise. Those 39 question responses should be coming out tomorrow to that collective group of neighborhood associations. There was an additional 6 questions that were submitted. I'm not sure if they'll quite be ready tomorrow, but hopefully the 39, the responses to the first 39 should be coming out tomorrow. That was the date that we were shooting for. So I think that'll provide a lot of good information and detail about the entire project, everything from the design, the engineering, and also even the financing of the projects.
All right, I've got Julia and then Randy after that. Go ahead, Julia.
Yeah, so I want to tell Tom that maybe if you read the pack, what it was in the package, you will see that what we discussed was about modifying the deadline of the project. We never discussed, and if you saw the meeting, you know, we talked to Jay, and Jay, I mentioned to Jay that the council hasn't seen anything yet. We don't even know how this project gonna look like, the design or anything. We were discussing only changing the date. This is what it took 5 minutes, okay? So next time that you're gonna run me under the bus, okay, or tell me that I wasn't doing my job, please read the resolution in the package. Because what we did was changing the deadline of the project. That's all. We didn't do anything else. This is coming. It's coming in the next couple of months. Well, that's all.
All right, Randy, go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to reiterate what everybody else has said. Bill Balke, Mike Zimmerman, and Alder Ferrata. They are all correct. We have We are not locking ourselves into anything based on the information that they have provided. Those are just my comments. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Does anyone else, Scott, can you see anyone else's hand? No one else? All right. And Tom, go ahead.
But Finance, didn't you vote on this 3-0 in favor of it?
Yeah, they approved it.
You did, didn't you?
It's to move the deadline back.
It's to move it forward, but you didn't have any discussion. Correct me if I'm wrong, I watched the darn meeting. You guys, you didn't have any discussion. You voted on it, so you moved it forward.
Can I add some comment?
It was 3-0
Hold on a
on a
second.
vote.
Hold on, wait until he's done, and I call on
I'm
you.
just trying to say, between the 3 people on the Finance Committee, instead of, I was chair of Finance at one point. And when we had something like this that we weren't sure of, we just pushed it to the council. We said, we're not going to vote on it, we'll just move it to the council, no vote. You guys voted on it, 3-0. So that has a place in City Hall. That has a place at City Hall. I don't care about a design or this right now, you voted on it. And you spent more time at a pickleball court than you did at this project talking about it. I watched the meeting. And I was astounded. And Bill Balke, what if Bill Balke leaves tomorrow? Then this whole project could change. Boy, and have I seen that before. The project can change. And, I mean, it's a huge project, and it hasn't seen its day in court, and I'm amazed that, it's not that simple, what I just heard. It's not that simple. And I don't know. I just think that the citizens are really getting the back end of this. There should definitely be more meetings. We've had one meeting on a project that's at $12 million plus. I'm going to say that again, $12 million. And I think that's in the TIF. Misty, correct me if I'm wrong. Something like $12 million in a TIF. And boy, people on Sign Road, stay tuned. This project needs to stay in court, and it's not getting it. And I'll move delay until after our, the finance, correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, I believe you're going to take up the project or talk about it more at Public Works on Monday. Is that right?
But Tom, this isn't approving the project or anything with the project. It's really just approving, because right now in the agreement it says it's supposed to be done by the end of this year, which isn't going to happen. And so this is just saying that we have until the end of next year to do the project. We still need to do the design, and we need to, the actual project itself. This isn't approving anything with the project. This is just approving the completion date that we have, because right now it's the end of this year, which isn't going to happen. And so we need to move our deadline to when this can be done to the end of next year instead.
Okay, let me ask you a question, Mayor. There's a 5-foot sidewalk on one side of the street. They're talking about a 10-foot wide, roadway, or no, it's even more than that. Are all the details that I've read about, are they in that project plan then? Are you with me that the stuff?
The design of the road's not
The
complete.
design.
That's what we're working on right now.
The design and everything, it's in the project, isn't it?
But not the final, not what it's finally going to look like. This is
But what I just spoke about, it's in the project, isn't it?
That's not what we're changing. We're changing the deadline on this. That's the thing in front of us right now, is changing when the city is required to finish it.
This isn't approving the scope and the design of the project.
No, this is just the deadline on when the city is supposed to get it done, because it's not going to happen by the end of this year. We're still doing the design.
Mayor, how can we vote on something that hasn't had its day at Public Works.
We're not voting on the design of this road, Tom. This is just talking about, this is just part of the subdivision improvement plan, which was done a long time ago, and it's updating the deadline and when it's supposed to happen.
So you're telling me the change of the road can still happen?
Yeah.
The intersection can still happen? You're going on record, I can live with that, I can live with that, don't get me wrong, I can live with that. The change of the road can still be changed. The intersection, we don't have what it's gonna be, it still can be changed.
Yep.
The bike path can still be in or out, it can be taken out.
Could be.
The multi-use path can be changed.
Could be.
All these things that I mentioned, not to mention, the road is gonna come out further, not on top of the hill, it's been changed, or it's down a little further, it's down, if I'm not mistaken. The road that comes onto Lacey, Road, it's
Commerce.
down the hill a little bit, if I'm not mistaken.
It's
The
just,
ro-
are you
It's
saying
to
it's
the-
just
it's to the east.
East of
Yeah.
Fitrona, it doesn't go quite to the Fitrona.
Not where it was supposed to come out.
Yeah, it's just east of it.
I'm talking about by Promega, where the road comes.
Well, Commerce is already in, so,
But onto Lacey Road.
you're right, it's
That's
just-
gonna come out, not there, it's gonna come out, I believe, further to the west. Does that sound right?
Well, it's essentially right where, if it's only like 10 feet away from where it's coming onto Lacey Road already. They
Okay,
completed
okay,
90% of it,
but
so that's where it's
I-
coming through.
That's my point. Okay, but that's there. We don't know the cost of the road, the shaving of the hill, we don't know that cost, do we?
We haven't finished the design yet, no, so we don't know that yet.
So all those things we just talked about, plus a whole lot more, the city's hasn't committed to anything on any of those, and it all can be
Nothing is
changed?
final. It could be. I don't know if it will, but it could be. Nothing's finalized yet. We haven't approved it yet, and this isn't approving that design. Right? Are you good?
You want another alder to talk, that's fine, I don't mean to.
Julia, do you want to speak again?
I think that you clarify what I said previously, that
Right.
this one was about changing the deadline. That's all. It took 5 minutes because it was changing a day.
Yep. All right. Anyone else? Doesn't look like it.
No.
Are you good?
No, if you're saying everything can be changed, Mayor, I'll take you on your word on that, that's fine. I mean, it still things can be changed. I'm good with that, I guess. I think as a project gets off the ground, you'll still be mayor. The council can change. But I'll take you on your word on that, and I'll take you on your word on that, so it's fine.
All right.
Mayor, I would just add, when the responses are sent to those questions, we'll make sure to include the council members, all the council members, so you get those responses as well to the questions, okay?
All right. Then we'll go ahead to a vote. All in favor of approving, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay.
Nay.
All right, that is approved. One more here. Looks like it's finance. I don't know, Julia, do you want to do this one?
I'm gonna give it to Randy. Randy, do you want to do it? What he said?
Yes.
All right.
I'm here. I need a resolution, a motion to approve resolution R-60-21, approving the First Amendment to the development agreement with Promega TID 12.
Is there a
Second.
Seconded by Gabriella, I believe. And did finance approve?
Yes, we did.
All right, and what's this about?
The amendment clarifies the TID grant funding the city receives passes through the developer will offset and reduce the TID bond, which will be issued to the developer. And the arrangement mirrors the TID 9 development agreement with Promega.
And I believe this is the Fahey Fields extension, right?
Fahey Glen.
Or Fahey Glen, sorry. Fahey Glen.
Glenn.
Yep. All right. Any questions on this one? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, nay. All right, that is approved. 2 weeks is the next council meeting. 2 weeks and a day is the next committee of the whole meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Moved by
Second.
Joel,
Second.
seconded by Shannon, I think. All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed, nay? All right, we are adjourned.